Going and speaking or holding these meetings, it's probably like the biggest part, not just in my recovery, but just in my my overall life going forward.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You are now about to witness
The journey that is the Life Choices podcast.
It's been a roller coaster.
Roller
since the
coaster of
last
life.
time. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's dive into it. What's going on?
Work's going great. Still working my recovery program. That's going great. But just it's the up and downs of life, trying to find some sort of balance. I've also been told, like balance isn't really a thing. You just got to prioritize and execute, figure out, the hierarchy of like what your life needs and make sure that's taken care of. Cause like if you're trying to find some sort of balance, you're just running from one end of the scale to another and just wearing yourself out. So I've been trying to do that. So we're just analyzing what needs to be prioritized in my life, whether it's work, personal time, family, recovery, and then making that a priority and then sort of going down that list rather than thinking that I'll have time for everything every week or every day.
I mean, I couldn't agree more with you on that aspect. It sounds like what most of us need to do is our time management
Oh yeah.
and realize that, regardless of what we may write down the night before or plan to do in the day of, uh, these things may not all get accomplished because life, anything is possible in a day. So always have an open mind that you won't accomplish everything you want to in a day. But managing your time as to what is priority is a difficult task because, one day you might think the meeting is the priority, but
Yeah.
then the next day might be spending quality time with your lady. I don't really believe in balance anymore. I don't think I've ever had what people consider to be balance.
Yeah.
I've always been like, all right, I absolutely have to work out every fucking day. And then it's like, when it comes to relationships in the past, I've always been like, well, no, I have my career, I have my podcast, I have my friends. So these are things like I gotta fucking focus on. And so some people have felt that my balance is out. But in my opinion, it's fucking great because on any given day, I set forth with whatever activities I want to accomplish. And I even do the night before to-do list,
Yeah.
knowing I may not get everything done because of what might come up. Where's your biggest struggle when it comes to time management and prioritizing what is important for the day?
Oh, I'm hopelessly optimistic. I am so convinced that like what definitely is a 3-hour project will only take me 2 hours. I'm just like, I can knock this out and I can get like four of these things done in a day. And next thing you know, it's like 12 o'clock at night and I'm sitting there
On
and
the same first topic.
oh, not,
Yeah, first
not to say
assignment.
I'll knock the first one out and then I'm just like, oh, well, this took me twice as long, but now I know what I'm doing. So the next two won't take as long. It's never the case.
Yesterday I came into the studio to record. I had two sessions to record. By the time 4:30 came around when the second podcast recording was finished, I was so done. And there was like three or four, I want to say like 50% of my list that I was just like, no, not happening. And I was okay with it. I was like, listen, that's the way it is. I'm not going to not listen to my body. My body is tired. If I try to attack anything else today, it's not going to be done with the same vigor, and therefore I'm not going to get the result that I want. So I'm going to be happy
Yeah.
folding it up for the day, going home, spending quality time with my dog, being available for my friends, and I just enjoyed the rest of the evening and
Yeah.
went to bed happy.
I have trouble doing that. The looking at the list and being like, all right, we're tired, we're done, we're stopping. I will burn myself out. I will burn myself to the ground and just be like, everything's getting done. It's on that list. And I don't even make a physical list.
Okay.
I know I have to start. My
Right.
list is all mental. So it's just like I can't even, sometimes bring myself to make that list, physical list.
It's a great practice. I talked about it for a long time and I know myself very well. So whenever I want to implement something new, I think about it first for a while. When I say a while, it could be a couple days, could be a couple weeks, could be a couple of months. And then I make the plan. I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to start doing that.
Yeah.
But I still don't do it. Right. And then once I do, I kind of look at it like this way. in my reality, in my matrix, I believe that I get to things when it's supposed to be done. Even if I think, oh, I could get over there so much quicker if I did start now, maybe I'm not supposed to get over there early. So I allow it to kind of organically
Yeah.
happen. But once I implemented the practice of before going to bed, and that's when I do it. So I have the 369 journal. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
No.
it's a wonderful little book. Again, it's just something to have to add to making sure you do certain things. 3 times a day I have to write in it. And at bedtime, it's now the discipline that even if I've forgotten to get into bed like 10 minutes early to do so, I still have to do it. And now on top of that, it's also the nightly to-do list. And
Yeah.
I only really put maybe 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 items on that to-do list. And it could be simple things. It could be coffee with sushi, spend time with her, gym. It's just things I know I can accomplish with a couple of things that I think, okay, they should have been on the list for a while.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing for you, because I used to do the mental list all the time and then I would forget all the things I wanted to get done, is mentally tell yourself, I'm going to start that activity. I'm going to start that practice and just keep it in your head. And then eventually,
See, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go home tonight and I'm
yes.
gonna do it because I had this conversation last week with a friend. It was Friday night. He was going to a bike night down south. I was just like, man, like I need to get out of the house. I've been working for the last 10 hours straight. I still got a whole bunch of work to do, but I need to get out of the house. I don't have time to go to down to Broward for the spike night. Like you seem stressed all week. How many meetings are you going to? Like how many AA meetings have you hit this week? I'm just like, I've done like maybe one or two. And he goes, because he's also sort of like my half sponsor. I ride with ARM Association for Recovering Motorcyclists, and he's my pappy through ARM. So he brought me into ARM. So he gets on me about my recovery a lot. He goes, "What I want you to start doing, I want you to start hitting like 3, 4 meetings a week. Just go reset yourself, reset your mind, sit in these meetings. That's a great idea. I'm going to leave right now. I'm going to go hit a meeting." He goes, "I didn't mean like right now. Like you don't have to do it right now." I'm just like, "You don't understand. If I don't do this right now, I will never start. It will be like just this bubble that I can't get into. If I go right now, I know I have an hour to do this because I was about to spend 3 hours going down south to hit a bike night with you. If I can leave right now and pop that bubble, it'll happen."
Okay. So for you, it sort of seems like even though you have the idea and you want to do certain things or add certain practices, it's almost like some other inspiration to it has to happen. And when it does, it's like an immediate, I have to start now. And then it's possible that it becomes your routine.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like this sort of paralysis. Like I know the simple things that I need to do every day. When stuff gets stressful, the simple things that take all that stress away become the hardest to do. Just like waking up and making a gratitude list or praying or making a list of like all the stuff that I need to do. So it's not just a bunch of thoughts rattling around in my head. The second stuff starts getting hectic, I'm just like, this is stuff I no longer need to do anymore. It just drives me insane. It makes it so hard to start back up.
It's almost as if the simple things become overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
So we say this often that to get to where most of us are nowadays, which is a better place. It's so simple that it's not simple,
Yeah.
right? And we almost make it not simple sometimes because the simple aspect is we know what we have to do. The not simple part is doing it every day.
Yeah.
And that's where we're trying to help other people right now by expressing to them that, like, listen, we're human too. And even though we may have gotten ourselves to here, we still struggle with certain things that we know are simple.
Yeah.
I've said this a I remember having this written in a journal, like when I was in my 20s. Sometimes our successes are paralyzed by our own laziness. And it's crazy because as an individual, when you look at yourself, you do typically have a lot of hours in a day because you sleep 6, 7 hours and you have 18 hours in a day to get shit done. And there's a lot of time, even before social media, that you made excuses. We watched a movie, we just kind of went for a walk. Like there's so many things we put in front of us instead of doing things that we think are difficult. when really it's just a matter of getting through it. Like even right now with the 369 journal, which is a book of manifestation where you think of something you want to manifest, and in the morning you write it 3 times, afternoon 6 times, and in the evening 9 times. Well, writing the same sentence 9 times is like, oh, fuck, really? And so I shit you not, last night I was about to get into bed and my book's right beside me, right? I make sure it's there. It's even on the counter over there right now. And I'm like, "Ugh, I'll just do it tomorrow." And then I was like, "No, dude, just fucking do it." And as I'm writing this 9 times, also in my head is the thought of, "Holy fuck, this is tough," which makes no sense to me because it's not, but I'm making it seem tough. So for me, it's like just rip the fucking band-aid off and get to
Do
it.
it.
But I still do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think about something I want to accomplish or add to my practices, and like I said, it could be weeks or a month before I actually implement it. But once I do, I reap the benefits from it.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. And that's why I love sitting here. And that's why I love, the fact that you keep coming back as one of our regular guests on the show, is because we help each other through these conversations with little ideas. And then possibly after the podcast today, you will go home and
Oh, yeah.
start that practice, which we'll find out because next time you're on the show, I'm going to ask you to start fucking practice. AA is how many times a week now for you?
Depending on my work schedule, right now it's been so hectic. I try to hit at least 2 to 3 meetings a week, and then every other week I have an H&I commitment in, Riviera.
What's an H&I commitment?
So it's hospitals and institutions. ARM, the association that I ride with, we've taken on a commitment. I actually got passed down the commitment from one of my brothers who had before, where we go to treatment centers and we have hold an AA meeting and we bring in speakers who've been in sobriety and working the program into these centers to talk with people who generally, if you're in treatment, you're just getting sober, just starting into recovery. So it's like talking about their experience and what helped them figure out that AA and the program wasn't just a bunch of like BS that people
Yeah.
were spitting.
It's phenomenal because I assume any of those individuals that are in that situation, something pretty bad has happened for them to be now in the area in which you guys go and talk. And that I definitely want, and I'm sure it's just down below in the description, the group that you're with now, the one that you
Yeah,
ride with. That's a phenomenal group. I love what they're doing. I love the fact that you have that commitment passed on to you from a brother before, and going and speaking and helping these other people that are just getting started possibly and hopefully sticking with the program, hearing stories, from the rest of you who have been in the situation and have fallen and back on and back off is, I mean, that just warms my heart. It's absolutely phenomenal. So that's the kind of stuff that we look to do in the future. I would love to it's part of my chief aim where I say I'm going to speak to large groups of students and adults to help them figure out how to live more
yeah,
successfully. That is, I mean, there's no better thing I believe than giving back to people, especially when you're also every day in recovery.
yeah. So that's the biggest part about the program, about working in AA program. That when I first started it, heard people talk about like, you have to be of service to like your fellow man. You have to do service work. And I thought, like, when I first got sober, I'm just like, that sounds dumb as fuck. I'm not, I'm not doing any of that. But going and speaking or holding these meetings, it's probably like the biggest part, not just in my recovery, but just in my my energy levels and my overall life. Like, so 2 days ago, I woke up and I was probably running on like 3 hours worth of sleep. And I got to work. I started working contracts, making my calls. I'm just like, oh man, I gotta go to this freaking meeting today. I was just like, I was dreading it the entire time going there because I'm just like, I am half asleep right now. I don't have time to do this. And then I sat in the meeting and I listened to my friend that I brought in, who I haven't seen. I met him in my first home group like 3 years ago. I hadn't seen him in like at least 2 years. I brought him in to speak and listening to his stories and then hearing everybody else in that room share. I left the meeting feeling like I was running on 10 hours worth of sleep. Like the
Isn't that
feeling,
amazing?
yeah. And it's just like the fact that it's the idea that, like, I can take my time and be beneficial to someone else. Like the amount of energy you get back to it. I hate saying it in a selfish way, but like those H&I commitments or like the speaking commitments that you take, being there to help other people, like it helps you. Like you'll reap all the benefits of that.
We've said this before. There's two different ways of being selfish. There's negative selfishness and positive selfishness. And this is definitely a positive one
Oh yeah.
because your energy is low sometimes when you go to this, but going and speaking or going and bringing a speaker and listening to other people, you've done such a wonderful thing for other people because, as you know, it's hard to ask for help. It's not an
Oh yeah.
easy thing to do. And so you just physically being there, even though you were of low energy, is doing so good for yourself. And then being part of the conversation and listening to other people's stories, there's no way at all that someone in that group hasn't benefited from both you being there, you speaking, and also listening to everybody else. So it the discipline that you take on, saying, I am going to be part of this H and then showing up, it's remarkable. It's something I believe everyone should do with whatever group or lifestyle they have. It doesn't have to be AA. It doesn't have to be drugs anonymous. It can literally be if you work in an office and there's a group meeting and you're not really, oh fuck, I don't want to go sit there and the boss is gonna say shit like this, blah blah. But when you go and you add your 2 cents and you show up, you're just doing good for other people. And it's hard not for that to reflect back onto you
Yeah.
inside.
So I have one friend who recently has been going through a lot of shit, and I was like talking with him, trying to help him work his way through it. And I'm just like, honestly, the only thing that I can suggest to you that when I'm feeling this exact same way and I've been in a similar position is going to help other people. Just find anybody. They don't have to be struggling as much as you, worse than you. They could be better off than you, but like I guarantee you, especially nowadays, it ain't hard to find someone who's struggling, find a way to help them.
Yeah.
Just taking a minute to get out of your own head and doing something for someone else, no matter how big your problems are. Like, of course, if you're dying in the hospital, I don't expect you to go out and help
Mm.
somebody. But if you're physically capable, if you're dealing with something emotionally that is stressful, just stepping outside of your own head to help someone else, like what you get,
It's
yeah.
rewarding. It really is.
Maybe it's just because I'm an alcoholic and an addict. If you left balance to me, it's either working myself to death or never working at all. Like
Right.
there's a sliding scale, and I'm either sliding to one full end of it or the other. But it's just trying to find that prioritize. Like, you know, I'm going to take a weekend off this weekend because I can take, like, I can afford to take a day off this weekend. So I'm going to go spend it with my family.
Right.
When like I could find work to do,
Oh, there's always work. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? They're like in any given day, I could sit here for 18 straight hours and get something done. But I take it to the point of healthiness of where I believe it's just as important. I believe it's part of my work
Yeah.
to take sushi for a walk along the water. It's part of my work to spend an hour or two in the evening with my friends, communicating with them. So important to me to spend that hour every morning at the gym. And I'm so lucky that I have one or two of my buddies that go with when our schedules meet up. And all of that together to me is the work needed to keep me here and going up.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's either work every day or not at all. I fall into that category sometimes too. I'm just like, well, why don't I just fucking take Saturday and Sunday and do absolutely nothing? Monday morning, I feel so fucking guilty that I did nothing all weekend. Like I really genuinely do. But I'm I'm
It fuels you almost to do even like to work harder when you do get back to work because you're just like, okay, now I really got stuff to do versus when you work all weekend, then you go back to working even more on Monday. You're just like, I already did this.
right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I'm teaching myself the importance of not feeling guilt. My roommate said the fucking funniest thing to me. He's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm really fucking exhausted to be honest with you." And I said, like when I wake up at 5, and I was like, "Well, actually I woke up at 5:30 today." And he goes, "Oh, how dare you?" And I was like, I just started laughing, right? Because it's like, yeah, in my head, I feel so bad that I didn't get up at 5. I got up at 5:30,
Yeah.
but it's like, he's right. Like, take it easy, dude. It's not a big deal. Like, you're okay. But it was interesting. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I should actually like think about that. So learning how to feel less guilty is something that is now coming into my train of thought so that I work hard when I'm working, but I enjoy the time that I'm doing other things,
Yeah.
which is not always easy.
Oh, no, being present is the hardest thing, especially right now for me, it's just, like, being able to sit down and do nothing,
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever found it harder to do.
I don't think I can sit and do nothing.
Well, I'm
Being
just saying, like, even relax, like, throwing a movie on Netflix or something, it's like, if I'm watching TV, it's generally, like, 'cause I've been doing post-production on some documentary projects, I'm just like, to lessen the guilt on myself,
I know where this is going.
I'll throw on documentaries so I can be like, "This is research."
100%, dude. 100. I love this segue. I have been practicing being present, like truly being present since March. So March, April. I know this is being posted in like September or October, but March, April, and May right now while we're recording. The past 3 months, I've been practicing being present, and I actually give thanks and gratitude for being able to be present because I'm able to witness a lot more blessings being bestowed upon me. And I'm just able to notice things better when I'm watching TV, I do the same trick in my brain because I don't sit that often. Like when I get back from work and I'm in South Florida and I'm with my friends and we do sit and watch a movie, because of what we do, we create content, which is visual. I look at the movie and as I'm watching it, I'm literally thinking, okay, that's a good angle. Ooh, that lighting was pretty good. Oh, I wonder if I could do that
Yeah,
so yeah, you do make a kind of game out of it, and all of a sudden you feel like during your resting time, which is because you're laying there, you're not
yeah,
making notes, you're just kind of mentally looking at it. But it's so funny that you say that because I find myself doing the same thing. Like I'm literally looking at how I can take what I'm watching into what I create. And even more so when I'm sitting around with my friends, because you've been to the house, like you've been to the
yeah,
compound. We have this patio and sometimes we literally hang around the truck, like we just all leaning on the truck and we're all shooting the shit. At the same time, I'm taking mental notes of conversations and topics and people's reactions. And so my brain's constantly thinking I'm working when I'm resting. So it's very interesting that you do the same thing.
I feel as though there's an aspect to that though, where, like, you're still not almost fully present. Like, 'cause when I'm doing that, it's, like, almost like I'm forcing myself not to enjoy the time that I sat down and I told myself I'd enjoy so that I can try to enjoy it.
What I do during these moments, the same time I'm the same time I'm taking those times where I'm resting and making them seem like I'm working mentally so I don't feel guilty
Yeah,
that I'm doing it. I also, because we have so many thoughts going on at the same time, and this is how I know I'm being present, is I truly take a moment and I allow my body to feel the energy that's going through it of being so happy that I'm getting to spend this time with those people.
yeah,
And that's how I believe I'm being really, really present because let's not say when we're watching the movie. Let's say when I'm outside and I'm talking and I'm kind of like taking mental notes for things. I am genuinely enjoying the fact that right now in this moment, I'm with these people having quality time
yeah,
with them because I know that when I'm over there, when all this becomes the level in which I'm busier, not available as much, maybe living somewhere else, and I don't see my group every day, I want to remember that I took time to appreciate the moment so that when I'm there, I'm able to pull that memory back again and feel that warmth and happiness that I'm feeling in this moment right now.
yeah,
So, and again, everything we do is all about our mind, right? It's like our mind is so powerful to create whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want, but it's implementing the practice of it, right? So, it's hard because you have to start thinking every day about these things. But the next time you're with your lady or your friends or your guys on the bikes, just allow that thought in your head of what's going on right now and how you feel. Like when you're riding with the guys or in a meeting with the guys, and all of a sudden you feel this overwhelming, like, fuck yeah, this feels good. Be like, holy fuck, I really enjoy being around these people right now. And then in time, when things get tough, you're able to look back and be like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
pull
fucking day
from
where we
that
went for
memory.
that ride, what a fucking great time that was. And that's showing you that you were present then.
That's one of the reasons why I like riding so much. Is just because I you physically and pretty much mentally, especially down in South Florida, you can't be doing anything else. Like you have to be present
Mm.
or you're going to die. So that's one of the reasons I like hopping on the bike so much. It's like a lot of the times when I can't sit still, because I used to meditate a lot. Years ago, I'd sit down and I'd do like 30-minute, 1 hour like silent meditations and stuff like that. I can't do that anymore. I've tried, but like at least I can hop on the bike and not think about anything except being present for like an hour or two while I'm going for a ride, you know, rather than trying to sift through my thoughts in silence, thinking that I'm doing something for myself.
I always try to express to people that meditation has so many different layers, levels, and differences. I believe the point of meditation is to be present, right? So I look at it as that is an hour of meditation.
Yeah.
It's not what people visibly or mentally think, which is cross your legs, sit there in a certain position, eyes closed, dark area, and you're not having any thoughts. I get that. I try to do that from
Yeah.
time to time. That little acupuncture mat there that
I
Pete
got one.
Casa, shout
Yeah.
out Pete Casa, he got that for me, and that definitely drifts me off into a place with no thought at all, and I pass out. I literally fall asleep. That is a great form of meditation, but also whatever it is that you do to allow yourself to center or be present is meditation to me.
Yeah.
The hour I spend with sushi in the morning having coffee, that to me is my meditation. It gets my brain ready for the day. The aspect of the quiet meditation, I'm in love with that too. A new practice. People are like, "How do you have time to do anything? All you do is all these practices." Hey, it's a fucking daily thing. Like I try to fill my day with practices. If there's something I want, and I came across this through social media, if there's something I want in life, I meditate on it from the aspect of I take the thought of what it is and the emotion of getting it, and I try to connect them together while meditating. So if I want the result of A and B together to equal C, I sit down and think of A receiving B and what that's going to feel like as C.
Yeah.
And and it's interesting because it's a new practice I'm doing, but for me with everything, I try to pull from old memories of happiness. So the feeling that I have inside of me, like the feeling like you get when you're riding, that's the feeling that I try to bring into my body to take the intention and the connection, together
Yeah.
to make it happen. And once I know what that feeling is like to feel happy about something, and I'm able to take what I'm looking at getting in the future and matching it with that emotion of happiness, and I can sit there with that. Now, I do sit on the floor and I do have my legs crossed and I do have my eyes closed and I am thinking only of that emotion. Um, it really does fill me up with like a very interesting level of energy, which
Yeah.
I'm super excited about. So meditation, multiple different things. So I think you are meditating every time you go on that motorcycle.
I've actually started going to the gym again.
Yes.
I try and make it a point, even if my schedule is busy, like at minimum 3 times a week. I feel as though that's less of a meditation and more just me getting my anger out.
Dude, I mean, I think most people that go to the gym, will agree that it's an outlet to deal with certain energies.
Yeah,
It is what it like. Here's the thing: how do you deal with frustration?
I bottle it up.
Okay, okay, not good. Keep going to the gym. I love the fact that you've given yourself 3 days of the week to go, which is an awesome start. It's more than what most people would do when they first start. 3 days a week is excellent. What I'm trying to do with frustration is I'm trying to get myself to be able to be calm with frustration because I feel like frustration is something that really fucks with us. And going to the gym regularly for me has definitely added the ability to be more calm with
Yeah,
a lot of things in my life. And I speak about it all the time. I go every day if I'm environmentally able to. I have tension bands that I travel with when I'm going away to places and I may not have a gym. And I feel that is while going to the gym is to think about things in the day or the day before that had frustrated me and see if I can calmly think about them where it doesn't when something frustrates you, you feel a certain way
Yeah.
inside. Like
That acid reflux feeling that's
you know
just
what that
squeezing you.
is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when I'm in the gym sometimes by myself, because with the guys we talk a lot, sometimes unfortunately things come in that you don't want to worry about. They're from the past. You shouldn't have to worry about it. What I do is I take that feeling of what it is inside and I realize I'm having it. And then I try to think about what I'm doing at the gym, which is a mental stability
Yeah.
action, and see if I can take that and see if I can calm it by now what I'm doing and thinking. So try that element
Yeah.
because I don't like hearing that you bottle it up. We're no longer at an age where we need to bottle our shit up. We know getting help is easier for us because
Yeah.
we have already. We know it's unhealthy to bottle up things and push things down because it's just going to blow up in the future. A new practice is when the frustration happens and you feel that whatever you want to label it feeling inside of your chest is think, why am I feeling this way? Am I doing something to change it? Which you are because you're at the
Yeah.
gym. And now how does this feel now that I'm thinking about it in this way? And I think it'll help a lot. Like I'm only ever sharing with everybody every single thing that I do in order to allow my 24 hours on earth per day be as wonderful as it possibly can, knowing there'll be challenges.
To have some serenity in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, but it's I'm doing really good with it. Like I know I am because I'm happy with the person I see in the mirror. Things that used to bother me, even within my inner circle, the, even in the past, when I used to think less of myself when I was around certain people within my circle, I no longer think that anymore. I think of myself as a beacon of fucking energy that is so bright that hopefully that's trickling out to every single human that I encounter.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know any other way to help than to just express all the things that I try to do in a day to make my life better. That's it.
It's like almost that the airline metaphors, like putting that mask over yourself before helping the person next to you. It's just like you could try to help everybody that you want, but if you're not taking care of yourself too.
I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine, and we were discussing someone else. You know, I always try to express the fact that, yes, you might have a point. However, we don't know what's really going inside that person's
Yeah.
head. And then the person returns with, yeah, but is their life really this bad or blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
Does it
it
matter?
doesn't matter
Yeah.
what we see because we're not them. What that person is dealing with, we don't know unless that person expresses to us. So absolutely having self-love and awareness and working on it is so important in hopes that the people around you, the people that you feel are the most important to you, hopefully will see how you've been working on it. And even if they don't ask for help, maybe they somehow know what you've done because you've expressed it in the past. And hopefully they start doing it internally as well. I do not give unsolicited advice anymore to people, but this podcast is there for any one of them to
Yeah.
watch, to hear what it is that we, me and the person in that chair every week, do to make our lives better. And I hope that it helps them eventually do it for themselves because you're
Yeah.
100% right. If you don't have that self love and that ability to help yourself first, it's not likely that you're going to have a good environment around you.
You'll constantly find reasons to be miserable and surround yourself with people who are also miserable because misery loves company. And then next thing you know, it's just like, why is everybody around me so angry all the time? It's just like, because that's what you started searching for because you didn't want to be happy.
And you just prove the fact of what we always talk about here, which is your environment is a reflection of you. And if you don't change who you are to become a better human being, to become the best version of you, you cannot expect the people around you to change.
Yeah.
And it's okay if they don't and you find other people because you have to be on your own journey and you need to find people that are doing the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, happiness won't be there for you.
And the worst part is too, and I hear it a lot, especially in meetings with like newcomers, it's just like, well, what if like I'm just miserable because of everybody else around me? It's just like, then why are you keeping them around you? And like, even if that's not, if it's like your best friend and you don't want to abandon them, it's just like, then find a way to fix yourself so that you can spread that to the other person. But you can't just expect, like if you're waiting for the person who next to you that's miserable to be happy so you can start being happy, it's just like you both are just going to go around in this circle.
Then you'll wake up one day, 40 plus years of age, thinking, what the fuck has been going on?
Yeah.
It's just a fact. Yeah. It all starts within. That's 100%. You're 100% correct on that. Yeah. Thank you very much. As
Thank you for
always,
having
I
me,
don't know,
man.
third, fourth episode you've been with us
Yeah,
here.
something like
We're going to do
that.
many more. I love, 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 love talking with you. I'm so happy that I have so many people. It's very interesting that come from a background of AA or drug addiction. It seems like more and more of them tend to be reaching out to me through other guests that have been on the
Yeah,
show. So I'm super appreciative that you keep coming back and helping us here at the Life Choices
I
podcast
love
get
being
out the
here,
info.
man.
So to all my lifers out there, thank you very much for coming back out each and every week. We'll see you here next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. on the Life Choices podcast. Much love, everybody.
You are now about
The Journey Life Choices podcast.